After an unsuccessful months-long tour to choose a consort, Rhaenyra returns to King's Landing. Daemon also returns after conquering most of the Stepstones. Now named King of the Narrow Sea, Daemon swears allegiance to Viserys and hands over his crown. As the reunited brothers celebrate, Alicent and Rhaenyra reconcile. After dark, Daemon and Rhaenyra sneak out to explore King's Landing, drinking, attending a bawdy play, and visiting a brothel. Daemon seduces a willing Rhaenyra, but unable to consummate their affair, he abandons her there. Returning to the Red Keep, Rhaenyra entices Sir Criston into having sex. Informed by the White Worm spy, Sir Otto tells the king about Daemon and Rhaenyra's carousing. Alicent overhears and privately questions Rhaenyra, who denies the accusations. Viserys confronts Daemon, who, hungover and disheveled, seemingly confirms the rumors and proposes he wed Rhaenyra. Viserys claims Daemon only wants the crown and exiles him to the Vale. To avoid scandal and strengthen the throne, Viserys orders Rhaenyra to marry Sir Laenor Velaryon. Viserys dismisses Otto as his hand after Rhaenyra alleges that Otto manipulates him for personal gain. Grand Maester Mellos gives Rhaenyra a precautionary abortifacient tea at Viserys' request. Thanks for stopping by the Surge T channel. I am Surge T. And that is the synopsis of the 4th episode of Season 1 of House of the Dragon, titled King of the Narrow Sea. That, of course, is in reference to Daemon, who, after conquering the Stepstones, he is named that by, he's named that and claims it, he owns it. I gotta tell you, this episode had a lot going. 3 points, 3 things that I took away from this. Daemon returns, seemingly changed, but really is he? Is he really changed, or is he just the same old Daemon that King Viserys and everybody knows from years before? We also see Rhaenyra, who, months-long tour to choose a consort. There's this old man, then there's this kid, and she's tired of it. She just leaves with, she leaves with Sir Criston. Disappoints her dad because her father spent a long time, according to the Queen Alicent, that he spent a lot of time to prepare that, so that she could finally find a consort and finally become wed. And then also we see Otto Hightower, who is planning to really he is trying to pretty much destroy her reputation when it comes to the Rhaenyra. He also wants to have his son Aegon to be the one to ascend the throne. We will see the next preview, when he always show a preview after this episode, and he's telling his daughter to get ready because they're going to see Aegon ascend the throne. We see, after all this, Viserys dismisses Otto as his hand, listening to his daughter Rhaenyra saying that he's trying to manipulate him for personal gain. And he served 2 kings before, and he does recognize his service, thanks him for his service. They're forever in debt to him, but time for him to go. He doesn't trust him anymore. He doesn't think that anything he says that he can accept for truth, take for truth. And I saw that, and I'm thinking that what's going to happen is Otto is going to plot something, because he already wants his grandson to ascend the throne, not Rhaenyra, and that's the reason why he's that's a spy, to go out there and follow her around. I mean, she's going into town with Damon. They even make out, but because he couldn't control her, she actually was willing to, to get with him and to probably have sex with him, her own uncle. He said that, he pounds his hand against the wall. He goes, he's done. He just leaves because he knows that he can't manipulate her or control her because she's a willing subject. She's willing to, so then what happens when that happens, she goes back to, she goes to returns to the Red Keep, and then she proceeds to have sex with Sir Criston. And I'm thinking that these guys aren't having protection. I'm thinking, what if he impregnates her? What's going to happen? Are they going to say that Daemon is the one that impregnated her, or is she going to say that it was Sir Criston? But Sir Criston has the oath of a knight. They're supposed to be, chaste, virginal, or whatever. They cannot have sex as long, because they are, you know what I mean? That's the oath that they take, and they cannot do that. They cannot engage in anything. But because he has feelings for her, so he gave into it. He gave into that desire that he has for her. And then there's that, and then toward the end, we see Grand Maester Bellows go in there, and he has a little vial of something in there, and it's tea, but it's pronounced abortifacient tea, and I guess abort like abortion. I guess that is the part of that name. And I guess when she drinks it, it's going to, he even said to her, he says to take care of any unwanted, whatever the word was, I think he said unwanted accident or unwanted thing may happen. He's pretty much saying that, hey, you guys didn't, if you did have sex with Daemon, because at this point, that's all they think that what happened. Maybe we should kind of get rid of whatever mistake that may have happened. And we see the point, man, where it's like Rhaenyra is at a point where it's like she's, her desires and all that of a woman are awakened in her. She's seeing all of these, seeing all this, going to a brothel and watching this body play, and it's awakening desires in her that probably she never knew she had. She's smiling when she sees people in the throes of sex and everything like that, and and then because Daemon pretty much just leaves her there, and she's probably still all, she's all just wound up, and she's, she wants to have, do what they're doing. She's seeing what they're doing. She seems to enjoy it. And then when she gets to the Red Keep, she turns her, she sees Sir Criston. Remember when she gave him her blessing when he was in the thing, in the joust in the first episode, and she was smiling. You could tell that she had she was attracted to him, and he was the first person there. I mean, was it going to be anybody that was there? If Grand Maester was there, would she have? I don't know about that. He's kind of an old man, so I don't think. She kind of was looking at the old man that was, I don't know what he was doing in the beginning. He's like drinking while he's talking, and I'm thinking, what is he saying? What's he saying? Because I didn't know that it was the, what do you call it? The tour there of all the princes and people in, that are trying to court her or trying to convince her to marry him. She's like, you're an old man. Like, made fun of him, and then the kid comes up, and the kid can't be no more than what, 10 or 11, maybe 12 years old. He's trying to talk to her, and he's trying to convince her about why he should be a rightful consort, rightful person to marry her. There's this guy that's over there on the side there, constantly heckling him, constantly talking crap to him, and really, really throwing him off his game, if you will. Then all of a sudden, he draws a sword, the little guy, the little kid, and then the other one draws a small dagger, and they're going at it. And as Rhaenyra and Sir Criston are walking off, you hear like a guttural scream, or a guttural gasp. You turn around, and then the kid actually thrusted his sword into the gut of that guy. He pulls it out, all his blood comes out. At first I thought he disemboweled him or something. I thought like that, and then I was, and I'm streaming it, I'm watching it on HBO Max, and then I rewind it a little bit. I go, let me see. Oh, okay, it was just blood. There was a lot of blood. When the guy landed down, he spit up blood, and then they didn't show it, but the kid was about ready to puke. He was like dry heaving. And then he just cut to Rhaenyra and Sir Criston. I'm thinking, damn, I would like to have seen that kid, I'd like to have seen that kid, throw up and stuff. It would have been funny to see it. It's funny because he had a sword. Like, I'm pretty sure he probably hasn't seen that before. He probably never engaged anybody, and he just did that because he was pretty much pissed off because that dude kept heckling him and throwing him off his. He's trying to convince the princess, But wow, this thing, this episode, man, we see Otto Hightower like really, really. He's just like really He's like sneaky. He's underhanded. He's he's really, really just cunning. Like he's trying his best to undermine, Rhaenyra. He's manipulating her father, and when Rhaenyra tells him about what she thinks, it's enough for Viserys to go, okay, as much as we appreciate your service, you served 2 kings before me. I'm not feeling it no more. I'm not feeling, anything from you, in a sense. I don't think you're loyal anymore. I'm not going to believe anything you say. And he just lets him go. And so this is going to set off Otto to really, really, now he's going to really want to see his grandson ascend the throne. And the next episode, you see that there is a wedding, and then you see someone says that if Rhaenyra, ascends the throne, there's going to be war. And then at that wedding, you see all these people fighting and all that stuff, and I'm thinking, are we going to see something like the Red Wedding? I'm thinking to myself, are we going to see a point where we're going to see that shocking moment where someone gets killed, you don't expect it, or someone's going to be betrayed, or somebody's going to, you know what I mean? All, the things that we come to know in Game of Thrones, right? Now in House of Dragon, we haven't seen anything like that yet, to where it's something like that, but it's brewing. I can only imagine what Otto's going to do to the king. I don't know. It looks like in the next episode, it looks like he's dying, or he looks like he's dead or something. I don't know. They're talking about that, and you hear somebody talking about that in the next the preview for the next episode, and I'm like, what's gonna happen? Just like I said with Ned Stark, I go, he didn't live past the first season in Game of Thrones. I'm thinking we're gonna see that with King Viserys. King Viserys has those sores on him, and he's like that, and he's dying like that. We kind of see that him and Alicent, he called her to his chambers late at night, and they're having sex, and she just lays there and she's looking off to the side like she's really not there. And then when he turns around to look at her, he smiles, but then she's not enjoying it, but she knows it's her duty. I mean, that's how it was back then. I think the one that plays plays Rhaenyra, I believe her name is Millie Alcock, and she was like, oh yeah, he's gonna marry what's the guy, Laenor Velaryon. And he's going, it's her cousin. It's her cousin. I mean, this is Game of Thrones. This is this is how it is. This is And she's just like going, yeah, I know. Like, she knows that at that period of time, that's how it was. That's how kings. That's how they use the kings and queens, man. They're like related. Most of the time, they're related. They're not. It's not like someone that's, a lot of times it's family, or it's a distant family, or it's a disconnected relative, or once removed, twice removed, third time removed, whatever. This is how it was back then. Remember who was the one that suggested that Aegon marry Rhaenyra? And Aegon's only like 2 years old, 3 years old, right? And apparently Alicent had her baby. Well, they didn't say anything about the baby. Remember, because she was pregnant when we saw little Aegon. You know, and who's that? Is it a girl? Is it a boy? Oh, but I enjoyed this episode. A lot to digest. A lot was kind of unveiled here. You know, Otto is gone. Rhaenyra is, as they say, she's sullied. She's not a woman of virtue, a maiden. This doesn't sit well with King Viserys. You know, she totally does not, you know, stay for the that long tour of consorts, future, you know, husbands of hers. She loses her virginity or loses her virtue to Sir Criston. You know, there's a lot. People are going to find out. I mean, they did. I mean, the Grand Maester handed her that vial, that little thing of abortifacient. I guess that's how you say that word. It's meant to just to kind of be rid of whatever if she got impregnated. They think it's from Daemon probably, because he's the one that said, "Yeah, I did it, and why don't you just let me wed her?" "You have a wife," says Viserys, but he's like, no. Crazy world of the Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. It's a world that there's no rules. I mean, there are rules, but when it comes to marrying, it's oftentimes it's the old thing. They marry family, they marry relatives. You know. She just, and then Millie Alcock said that when I played Rhaenyra, it said that that's her cousin. Like, then really? Like, that's kind of well, like I said, it's not strange, you know. It's not really strange, or it shouldn't be you know, it shouldn't be thing, you know what I mean? It shouldn't be a surprise. But yeah, I enjoyed this episode, and it's really an eye opener. Can't wait to see the next one, because it's going to be the wedding. All that craziness. You see a lot of stuff that's happening. If those of you have seen the preview that's shown after this episode, preview episode 5, I'm like, looks like something's gonna happen. Maybe some deaths, maybe some surprising, shocking ones. Maybe main character's gonna be killed off. Who knows? Does King Viserys live past that episode, or will we see the demise of King Viserys? I might add, Paddy Considine and Billy Alcock are really, really good in their role as Viserys and Rhaenyra. They got great chemistry. I love their scenes together. There's always a lot of passion behind it. You can totally convince yourself. You're convinced that they are father and daughter. And the way they talk to each other, and the way that she's defiant. He's insistent that she marry. And at this point, she's like, he's not saying, "Oh, you have a choice." He's saying, "No, you're gonna marry. You know, you're gonna marry who I tell you to marry." And she says, "Yeah, I'm willing to, but you have to do your kingly duties. You have to do what I need to ask of you to do." And that was, of course, being rid of Otto Hightower as the Hand, and he does that. So then now we see that the wedding's going to commence. The next episode, they previewed, they showed it. So let's see what happens. It looks like I said, someone's going to die. Maybe quite a few, maybe one of the main characters, but we'll see. But anyway, that's my video. That's my recap of episode 4, titled King of the Narrow Sea. Very good episode. And hopefully you enjoyed my video. But anyway, that's my video. So for those of you who stopped by and checked it out, I appreciate it. And in closing, as always, take care.